Something unusual is going on in Formula One, and McLaren might be right at the center of it. Their recent edge in tire performance has sparked questions across the paddock, and it might all come down to one small, unexpected detail hidden deep within the car's mechanics. While most teams are still figuring out basic temperature control, McLaren appears to have found a workaround that no one saw coming. Thermal imaging from the MCL39 shows unexpected cool zones on the tires, details that instantly raised eyebrows. Initial buzz hinted at the use of tire water, but experts quickly dismissed that theory. Pirelli confirmed that injecting water into tires through valves is simply not feasible. Now, all eyes are on a different possibility, one that might be more realistic and much smarter. Red Bull, among others, are under pressure to catch up or prove this technique crosses a line. But what exactly is it that McLaren may be using, and why is it causing such a stir? What's drawing attention now is something known as phase change materials, or PCMs. While they're nothing new in industries like electronics, textiles, and even architecture, their mention in Formula One is still quite rare. Until now, McLaren is suspected of integrating this technology to regulate the heat in their tire system, not by applying it directly to the tires, but through another smart placement. The trick lies in the brake assembly. As braking can generate temperatures reaching close to 1000 degrees C, that heat naturally spreads toward the wheel and then the tire. On qualifying day, this is actually helpful. The tires need to warm up quickly for optimal grip. But during a race, too much heat becomes a liability. Here's where PCMs come in. When placed inside the brake drum cover, they act like thermal buffers. They absorb a large portion of the heat before it ever touches the tires. This helps McLaren keep the tires working at their best. Longer stints, fewer overheating problems, and consistent pace, even in mixed conditions. What makes PCMs special is how they manage heat. When these materials switch between different physical states, such as from solid to liquid, they absorb or release large amounts of energy. This transition happens at a stable temperature, which allows the surrounding environment to stay within a narrow heat range. In McLaren's case, this means the tires are shielded from extreme temperature spikes coming from the brakes. It's clever because the PCMs aren't touching the tire directly. Instead, by being embedded in the brake drum housing, they quietly do their job without altering any major visible parts. On race day, this difference can mean everything, especially when managing wear, grip, and strategy. There's been no overheating from the MCL39 this season, not even during chaotic conditions like the Australia race that swung between wet and dry. That alone hints that there's more going on beneath the surface. Some say the cold zones spotted on thermal cameras weren't a mistake, but a calculated result of engineering precision. Adding an interesting twist to the story, a former McLaren engineer named Martin Buchan once focused his doctoral research entirely on PCMs and their use in high-performance racing. That was nearly a decade ago. Fast forward to today, and McLaren's technical team, now led by Rob Marshall, who previously shaped Red Bull's design success, might be putting that research into real-world use with the MCL39. If this connection is confirmed, it could lead to serious conversations with the governing body. However, as things stand, there's no direct rule against using PCMs. They're not mechanical, not electronic, and they don't violate any written regulation. So technically, McLaren isn't breaking the law. At least, not yet. Still, we've seen how quickly things can change. Last season in Baku, the controversy around flexible rear wings escalated fast. The moment the FIA confirmed the irregularity, actions followed. So while PCMs might be in a legal gray area today, scrutiny could change that very soon. However, the real question now isn't whether PCMs are legal. It's whether McLaren should be penalized for using a technique that's pushing the boundaries of current regulations. We've seen teams face backlash for innovating in ways that challenge the status quo, such as when Mercedes experimented with cooling systems for their tires. In a sense, McLaren's approach to temperature regulation could spark the same kind of controversy. Red Bull, for their part, is watching closely. They've been vocal about McLaren's potential advantage, especially with the MCL39 showing consistency in tire performance even in demanding conditions. But, according to Christian Horner, it's simply the nature of Formula One. Teams innovate to stay competitive. Red Bull themselves have been doing it for years, refining their car to maintain a clear advantage over the rest of the grid. It's not so much about playing the victim, as Horner points out, but about maintaining fairness in the competition. While Red Bull's stance is clear, the reality of McLaren's innovation raises the bigger question. Should this be considered an unfair advantage or a stroke of genius? Formula One is all about pushing the limits of technology, but it's also about maintaining a level playing field. If McLaren is indeed using PCMs to enhance their tire longevity, it's a testament to their engineering brilliance. But does it cross a line? Interestingly, the FIA has yet to make any official moves against McLaren's approach, which is why the use of PCMs remains under scrutiny. While the technology is groundbreaking, it's not quite as dramatic as the flexible rear wings of last year. So far, McLaren's efforts have avoided any major backlash. However, it's clear that if this PCM theory holds true, it could lead to some serious changes in the rules. One thing is clear: McLaren's innovative approach has caught the attention of the entire F1 paddock. The MCL39 has proven to be a competitive force, showing consistent performance across different conditions. Whether it's managing tire temperatures or making the most of the car's balance, McLaren's strategy is working. But what happens next depends on how the rest of the teams react. Red Bull, for instance, is already voicing their concerns. Despite their dominance, they're not immune to scrutiny, especially when a rival team comes up with a new, potentially game-changing technology. Should McLaren's use of PCMs lead to new rules, it could force teams to adapt quickly, potentially leveling the playing field. But for now, the question lingers. Are McLaren's tactics part of the game, or are they about to change the rules? Altogether, it's a topic that's sure to dominate F1 discussions for the foreseeable future. And as teams begin to understand the full extent of this innovation, the question remains: will it be accepted, or will the FIA step in? As the season progresses, McLaren's potential edge with PCMs could make all the difference in their pursuit of another title. The team's ability to manage tire temperatures and extend stints is a serious advantage that could tip the scales in their favor, not just in individual races, but over the course of the entire championship. But with the spotlight now on them, the question is whether this innovation will spark a regulatory change or if it will remain as one of Formula One's best-kept secrets. For now, McLaren is walking a fine line, staying ahead of the competition while staying within the rules. Whether this advantage will lead to a lasting legacy or a brief moment of brilliance remains to be seen. One thing's for sure: the battle for supremacy in F1 is far from over, and McLaren's strategy could change the landscape of the sport. Or at least make it more interesting. So what do you think? Should McLaren's PCM strategy be allowed to continue, or should it be banned? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to check out the video on your screen. Now for more F1 insights.